has a story to claim. Sit back, listen to conversation between Terrie, Lynn, and new authors on the rise, and let the journey begin.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to my podcast, Conversations between Terrie, Lynn, and New Authors on the Rise. I know you were expecting my conversation with Diane Klein this week, but life threw me a little curveball, some technical hiccups over the weekend. You will hear that wonderful conversation next week. However, for this week, I thought I'd do something special. I'll take you behind the scenes of my podcast, tell you why I love interviewing new authors, share a few of sweet personal stories, and give you a peek at what I'm working on next. Why I interview new authors. I believe new authors don't always get the spotlight they deserve. Self-published authors especially face big challenges, limited professional support, small marketing budgets, and very few opportunities to reach a wide audience. I wanted this podcast to be a platform for them, a safe, encouraging space where they can share their stories, talk about their books, and introduce themselves to readers who might never have heard of them otherwise. It's my way of saying, hey, your story matters and people should hear it. How I became a podcast host without being able to speak. You may not know this, but I'm a non-vocal woman with cerebral palsy. If you had told me years ago I'd be running my own podcast, I probably would have laughed and said, that's impossible. In fact, few years ago, I did laugh at a friend when she asked me why I didn't start a podcast, and I joked, if you can figure out a way for me to speak, I'll start one. We both laughed, and I never imagined I'd actually be able to keep my word. Then I discovered revoicer.com, the incredible tool that gives me my voice. Without it, this podcast simply wouldn't exist. Every time I use it, I'm still amazed by what it can do. I feel truly blessed to live in a time when technology can turn what once felt like brick walls into wide-open doors. How I make it all happen. Here's my little podcast process. I record my interview questions using revoicer.com. The author fills out my Google form with their answers. I record my responses to those answers with Revoicer again. We meet on Zoom and I record the conversation. I edit it all together in CapCut. I design a cover image with the author's book and info. I upload the episode to YouTube and Buzzsprout. I share it in my newsletter and on social media. It's a lot of steps, but I genuinely enjoy every part of the process, especially hearing how excited my guests are to share their stories. A little library magic. Earlier this year at a library author event, something happened that still makes me smile. A boy, also an author who was around 7 years old, noticed me signing. Right there on the spot, he pulled out his phone, looked up the ASL alphabet, and started signing to me. Even after his mom and my husband explained I could hear, he kept right on signing all day long. It was so pure, so thoughtful, and honestly just adorable. I've been trying to get him on my podcast because I think people need to hear from a kid like that. Our schedules haven't lined up yet, but fingers crossed it happens soon. Abby's big questions. Then there's Abby. Her mom reached out to me online for advice. Abby has cerebral palsy and she wanted to know, why do I have it, and why am I different from my sisters? Her questions touched me deeply because I understand what it's like to feel different and to feel alone. I told her mom I'd love to write a children's book for Abby, one that would answer her questions in a way that was loving, empowering, full of hope and faith in God. You can buy this book on my website, which is www.terrielynbirneyauthor.com. Writing for children ages 5 to 8, I create picture books that feature kids with cerebral palsy, not just so children with disabilities can see themselves in stories, but so all kids can learn about diversity, empathy, and inclusion. My hopes for my books. My dream? To be a modern-day Judy Blume for children with disabilities, especially those with cerebral palsy, but really any disability. I want my stories to make them feel seen, valued, and celebrated. My hope is that my books send a powerful message to the world. Anyone with a disability is just as capable, valuable, and unique as anyone else. I excitedly invite kids to email or write me a letter to share their thoughts, dreams, and questions. I also warmly invite parents of children with special needs to reach out to me for advice, tips, or simply a listening ear. My email address is author@terrielynbirneyauthor.com. My mailing address is Terrie Lynn Birney, P.O. Box 834, Newport, North Carolina 28570. Another story that stuck with me, my first in-person connection. Last year, I met a mother whose daughter has cerebral palsy. When she learned I was a children's book author who had followed my dream despite challenges, she cried happy tears. She told me I was showing her daughter and her that anything is possible. That moment reminded me, this isn't just about writing books. It's about showing people, kids and adults alike, that dreams are worth chasing. When you support a new author, you're helping keep that dream alive. How you can support new authors and why it matters. Supporting new authors, especially self-published authors, can make a huge difference in their careers. Here are a few simple but powerful ways you can help. Leave a review. Even a few sentences about why you liked the book can help more readers discover it. Share on social media. A photo of the cover, a favorite quote, or just "my kid loved this book" helps spread the word. Attend local book events. Showing up means the world to an author. Join their newsletter. It's a direct way to support their journey and stay in the loop. This is personal for me because I know how hard it's to be a self-published author, as I'm one, working hard to share my stories with the world. What's next? I'm working hard on a new series called Signing with Emma, where every single word is paired with sign language. The first book in that series, Does Anyone Know My Language?, was originally planned for release in October 2025. But as my illustrator worked on drawing the signs, we realized it was taking longer than expected to capture them just right. Instead of rushing the process, I decided to give it the time it deserves because this book is too special to hurry. Now it will be released on a truly perfect date, April 15, 2026, National Sign Language Day. How fitting is that for a book about sign language? It's already available for pre-order, and I promise the wait will be worth it. I apologize for the delay, but I believe this extra time will make the book even more meaningful. Combines two things I love: storytelling and breaking down communication barriers. Look for some illustrations of Emma and her service dog, Cuddles, and some illustrations from Does Anyone Know My Language? At the end of this episode. So, even though today wasn't our usual interview format, I hope you enjoyed hearing a little more about why I do what I do, how I do it, and the passion that drives this podcast. I'll be back next week with my conversation with Diane Klein that I know you're going to love. In the meantime, you can check out my books, subscribe to my newsletter, or connect with me on social media. My website is www.terrielynbirneyauthor.com. And don't forget to pre-order Does Anyone Know My Language? So you'll be among the first to receive it in April. Thank you for being part of this journey. I couldn't do it without you. I will put the link to my website and my contact information in this episode's notes below. Okay, my listeners, tune in next week when I talk with my friend who's a children's book author, Diane Klein, and find out who asked her to write a children's picture book. Until then, happy reading with your kiddos.